Hello, I'm Mallie Shansfeld, Managing Editor of Endodontic Practice US, a Medmark publication. Welcome to a continuing education presentation and question and answer with Dr. Michael J. Rivera. In our webinar today, we will be discussing a protocol that can clean complex internal spaces utilizing minimal instrumentation, where most treatments can be efficiently performed in one visit, and for which patients have reported minimal to no discomfort post-treatment. Before we get started, I'd like to invite viewers to use the chat feature in the control box on the bottom of your screen to ask any questions, and your questions will be answered at the end of the session as time permits. Now I'm pleased to introduce our guest for today. Dr. Rivera is a 1984 graduate of Boston College and a 1989 graduate of Harvard School of Dental Medicine. In 1990, he completed a general practice residency at Harvard's Brigham and Women's Hospital. And in 1992, he received his certificate in endodontics and Master of Science degree from Northwestern University Dental School in Chicago. Dr. Rivera is a diplomate of the American Board of Endodontics, a member of the Endodontic College of Diplomates, and a specialist member of the American Association of Endodontists. He is the 2006 recipient of the District of Columbia Dental Society's David Mast Memorial Award for Excellence in Continuing Education. Dr. Rivera is in full-time practice and maintains 3 offices in the Washington, D.C. metro area. Dr. Rivera, we turn the webinar over to you to learn more about your topic for today.
Well, good day, everybody. Thank you, Mallie. Thank you, Endodontic Practice, for letting me be with you. This is a presentation that I hope will be an opportunity for all of us to learn together. And I trust that it will make a significant difference for all who wish to listen. Well, we are going to get started here with my background. As Mallie just reviewed briefly, I am a BC Eagle. I graduated in 1984. My dental training was at Harvard, followed by a year of oral medicine at one of the Harvard medical teaching hospitals, the Brigham and Women's Hospital. My luck took me to Northwestern University Dental School, where I pursued my residency in endodontics and a Master's of Science degree. In 1992, when I was pretty much done with my training, I put my, 3, maybe 4 books in a van, my mattress, a toaster oven, I remember, and drove to Washington, D.C., where I've been practicing for 31 years. I'm in practice with 5 other professional partners. Our practice comprises 3 locations, one in the District of Columbia, and then 2 in Maryland, one in Chevy Chase, and the second one in Rockville. We have been providing GentleWave exactly during the last 5 years, April of 2018. Ever since, every single patient of ours, 99+% of patients, have received the GentleWave procedure. We own 4 consoles, 3 G4s and a G3. Here's me proudly standing next to the latest G4 unit. To date, we have GentleWaved successfully over 10,000 teeth, and we are more enthused than ever before. The impact, it's been tremendous and continues to be and will be tremendous in the years to come. I don't like to read the slides. I may read a line or 2, or maybe the highlighted word or words in the slide. But, as you can read on the slide, we have to admit, because it's true, that for quite a long time, decades, we've been very limited in our ability to successfully take care of those complex anatomies that walk through our door on a daily basis. We all know, thanks to the work of Walter Hess, and we probably are familiar with his textbook. We were exposed to it in dental school and again in graduate school. We know Walter Hess produced on in his laboratory all these images that basically fascinated thousands at the time. Most of you are familiar with these complicated anatomies that he published over a century ago. He probably was, Sir Walter Hess, the first educator that conveyed to us that the single uncomplicated canal with no branches or ramifications was the exception and not the norm. Yet, if you look at what's happened, you get a little baffled. I was trained, probably most of you were trained at your programs, and this is words of Schilder, that what we took out of the inside of the tooth is always more important than what we put in it. And when you look at what's happened in the last 25 years or so, the major corporations, dental supply companies, just entities have spent most of their time, energy, and finances revolutionizing techniques to perfect instrumentation, obturation, without basically devoting much to disinfection, even though we know that it is mostly about getting things clean inside of those complicated root canal systems. And you have to ask yourself, why? Why has this happened? I wondered for a long time, why is it that we are not seeing more technologies that provide us with, a sense of getting things cleaned in there? I do a bit of teaching. This is maybe a sidebar, but I like to show this image. Let's assume this is a necrotic teeth in the front of this castle in Spain. It is critical to understand that it is our files that shape canals, but it is our irrigants that clean the system. Files shape, irrigants clean. In other words, our files are going to work inside of the trunk of the tree, but our irrigants are going to work within the limbs of the tree. There's a paradigm, and it started with Schilder, believe it or not. He posed the question. I was there at the time when he was teaching his residents. Harvard students would go to BU come to Harvard. We listened to Schilder at conferences, dental meetings, the father of three-dimensional endodontics. Yes, we can do both, but I do remember, because I saw him live, resent every now and then about having to open things up, kind of crank things open at the top so we could take care of things more effectively and efficiently deep down. The paradigm shift continues. Why can you endodontists just suck out the dying pulp from inside the tooth and don't touch anything? You move or travel 20 years down the line, and at the yearly meeting of the AAE in Phoenix, Arizona, it was all about enhanced irrigation. It stole the show. Sonendo is a company that markets the GentleWave procedure. It was invented by two mechanical engineers, Bjarne Bernheim and Mirzad Kapoor. The company was founded, I believe, in 2006. Since 2006, and for the next, I believe, almost 10 years, they tested the technology on over 60,000 teeth, along with 55 other engineers, and came out with the GentleWave procedure, which was marketed in 2016. Why are they different? In quotes, because these are words from Sonendo. They say they have transformational technology, and it is 100% focused on patient care. This one really blew my mind. More in R&D than any company on the planet. Wow. Again, they did test the technology on 60,000 teeth. You've got dozens of engineers working daily to further it, and they're telling us they're just getting started. By the way, Sonendo is not a vendor company. They are a technology company focused only on endodontics. It's only endo for them. If you think about it, enhanced irrigation had to happen. We've been using the same reagents, sodium hypochlorite, for decades. We've been letting it soak in there for X number of minutes. Clinicians have been everywhere around the world, maybe agitating it with their files. Many clinicians have agitated hypochlorite with their master cones. Sonic irrigation came up, a bit of ultrasonic. Now we have a technology that provides different style of physics. It provides different mechanisms of action and a different way to introduce our reagents into the root canal system. It had to happen. I'd like to show a video of what the G4 console looks like. Let's listen to it.
The GentleWave G4 system.
The GentleWave G4 system. Superior cleaning and disinfection of the root canal system with maximized dentin preservation and fast healing. Designed for optimized performance, the GentleWave G4 system is here to support future upgrades so your system can grow with your practice. Refined for a simplified workflow, the GentleWave G4 system reduces daily prep time with high volume fluid capacity to deliver up to 6 treatments without refill. Multi-operatory connectivity provides real-time status of your G4 consoles at a glance. And battery backup prevents procedural delays by keeping your system powered on and primed while unplugged. Enhanced to deliver an elevated experience. The GentleWave G4 system's user-friendly interface provides step-by-step guidance on its large screen. New auditory cues provide procedure awareness without looking at the screen to help facilitate efficient, stress-free procedure delivery. Attentive details simplify transport between operatories so you can quickly attend to your next patient. Exceed expectations with the GentleWave G4 system, the latest technology innovation from Sonendo.
Of course, the units get upgraded. We are now using our G4 units, and we absolutely love them. Well, let's talk about my vision or lack of vision, and let you know how all this started for me. I'd like to go back to the fall of 2017, which is when we were beginning to hear the words Sonendo, GentleWave, multi-sonic, enhanced irrigation. People were publishing about it. They were lecturing about it on dental societies, conventions, study clubs, and so on. I remember colleagues calling me over the phone and saying, Michael, you should really look into this. I've been using this for X number of months and so on, and it's just a terrific way to to remove all the debris from those internal complex spaces. Well, the more I listened or read about it, the more I found myself embedded in a thick, dense fog of not knowing. I just never had the vision. I started practicing in 1992. By 1997, our practice had 14 ceiling-mounted microscopes. I saw the microscopes. I saw incorporating mechanical instrumentation, rotary. I saw paperless. I saw wireless. Of course, cone beams followed. But GentleWave, I just never had the vision. Interestingly, my 5 professional partners just saw this right away, but I didn't. So here I was listening to all these words, paradigm shift happening really strongly. Others were saying it was an optimization cleaning tool. A colleague of mine said to me once it was more than a disinfection device. And I would say to myself, what in the heck does that mean? And of course, you know, some were saying it was an alternative way of doing root canal treatment. Well, I remember asking myself, how can I trust this inner current that's flickering across my mind without knowing where it would take me to? How could I trust myself to make a decision, you know, that was not only the right one for myself, but also for my patients? My professional partners wanted to invest in it right away, and I just could not see it. So what I did is I decided to risk it forward, meaning just to find my way through all this fog of me not knowing. Yeah, I risked it forward with tremendous skepticism, I may say, but just a tiny little bit of faithful courage. The day of the demo came up, and it was sometime in March of 2018. The area sales manager by the name of Brian, really fun, good guy, demoed all of us one at a time in our practice. And this is how I felt when I was done after an hour. I felt like Brian was trying to convince me that the earth was flat. Now, picture this case scenario right here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm in this operatory in our practice. It's Brian, the Sonendo rep. It's myself and a G3 console. And Brian absolutely is clueless as to what I've done for the last 26 years. He has no idea that that's how long I've been practicing, and that I've treated successfully, I would say, about 55,000 root canals. Following these sacrosanct concepts that I'll show coming up soon, which was at the time and still is for most universal mindset. Concepts such as, you know, that a canal that has not been shaped cannot be cleaned. That the only reason why we would shape canals was so that we may then disinfect root canal systems, because files shape, but it is irrigants that clean. So we had to shape them a bit wider so we could clean them. I was taught since mid-90s that recapitulation was key, because it would discourage the blockages at the terminal extents, and therefore we would encounter less iatrogenic events. We would secure the glide path for shaping files to follow. We had been following this mantra, no glide path, no rotary. And yeah, we were, or I was, for 20 plus years or so, I was using the radiographic terminus as my working length landmark. So that was me for 26 years, 55,000 root canals treated, not teeth canals. And Brian, who is not a dentist, is telling me, don't need, all you need, don't need, need. Yep, he was trying to tell me the world is flat. So I'm confused, a bit totally unfamiliar and a bit afraid. My professional partners who trained the same day I did, who had the demo, wanted to invest right there and then. And I just could not see this. You know, I was afraid, and it's not that I did not have the courage to go through this. You know, it's not that I was being a coward. To me, the opposite of courage at the time was not cowardice. It was conformity. I had been in a state of complacency for over 2 decades, doing my thing, treating my patients, you know, going to and through terminus, dealing with my successes and also my failures. I learned a few months down the line that this picture right here, you know, was not inherently bad. In fact, it had to be a necessary phase, because at the edge of not knowing, for me, looking back, was the beginning of extraordinary. I just didn't have the answers yet. So yeah, it meant doing things a bit differently. And that's one of the things that scared me the most, not recapitulating, staying short and not shaping. So the tough thing for me was letting go. That was extremely hard. Letting go of the way I had been doing it since 1992. You know, every single patient of every single day of the week, of every single month of the year. Letting go was hard. Then came the moment of discovery, inspiration, and enlightenment. It was case number 8 during my actual training that happened about a month and a half after we received the demo. It was case number 8. We have to, when you're training with Sonendo, you have to treat at least 10 teeth during training, and then you are giving a diploma that you're a certified clinician, and you know, giving the green light to provide GentleWave for your patients. So this was, and there was a vital tooth, tooth number 19, and this was the pack. And of course, the trainer had been looking over my shoulder from start to finish. And when I was finished, he said to me, "How do you like the anatomy?" And so I'm looking at this apical box on the mesial root right here, and I'm saying to myself, "Wow, wow! I just, this really was really cool." It hadn't been customary for me to see this type of anatomy, especially on vital teeth. And I'm saying to myself, well, maybe this is why it's the vital teeth, not the necrotic teeth, the vital teeth that come back to you X number of days, weeks, or months down the line with patients complaining, "Hey doc, you know, my tooth's still tender, you know, what's happening? Why do I still feel things?" and so on. And then Robert, the trainer, says, "No, I'm talking about how do you like the anatomy at the mid root aspect and the distal root." And there you go. We had another portal of eggs in here. And that was, obviously, I had not seen this till Robert pointed it out. Again, this is a vital tooth. And case number 8, a door had opened. This is when I realized that this was going to happen. See, as you keep utilizing GentleWave, soon another door opens and you travel down this corridor to open another door. And then you travel down this other corridor to uncover another opportunity, and so on and so forth. And that's what GentleWave is all about. So yeah, we're doing things a little different. Soon I began to realize that the Sonendo protocols really were spot on. This is an upper bicuspid. two working length files that seem to meet about 1 millimeter short of the radiographic terminus. So we're not going anywhere beyond about 1 millimeter. These are really tight, so I secured or owned my glide path with a 1602 instrument, and that's it. I built a platform, run GentleWave, and that's the pack. Look at this at magnification, and here you can see a trifidity that was uncovered after running GentleWave. The terminus was never once recapitulated. I never maintained patency because GentleWave physics does the work for you. This is just another case. This is a necrotic tooth with symptoms. Those of you who have practiced endo know that when things merge downtown, things are pretty complicated. There's typically fireworks, at the apical third. These are 3 working length files, about 1 millimeter shy. Then I owned the glide path again with a 1602 instrument, built my platform, run GentleWave 8 minutes, and packed the case. And here's the patient 8 months after, asymptomatic and the tooth fully functional. In just one slide, this is the best way that I can describe the paradigm shift that has finally happened for almost 1,000 of us GentleWave practitioners. We are now securing that glide path for our arrogance to follow, not for our shaping files to follow. I'll say this again because this is the crux of the technology in my humble mind. We are securing, we are owning that verifiable, reproducible, smooth, gentle, confirmed path about 1 millimeter short of working length for our arrogance, our fluid to follow, not our files to follow. This quote by James Smith. He is, in the view of many on my own, the GentleWave GOAT, a pioneer. He embraced the technology in 2016. Jimbo may be the clinician that has performed more GentleWave procedures than anyone in North America. So what are the instruments that Ribera uses currently? Well, I start with a hand 10 file. I use it to, scout, acquire a working length with my apex locator. Once is fairly loose at length. I follow with a mechanical 1602. I happen to love the instrument by Dentsply, the Pro Glider. And then, well, that's it. That's it. It's time for the 8-minute date. This is a video that I captured myself. This is my professional partner, Luke Cantamesa, running GentleWave on a patient. With the patient's consent, he is building the platform. It takes about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes to build a platform. I am there with my iPhone, zooming and getting as close as I can. Luke is treating an upper molar. You can see how the matrix is holding the sound seal. It's cured. Matrix lifts fairly easily with a spoon excavator. Important step, we are going to open the orifice to mimic our axis outline cavity prep. Prior to clean flow, we had to measure the distance between the platform and the floor of the tooth, so the sound bar would be just slightly shy of the vertical floor. The assistant, to slight touch, enters the info: necrotic tooth, molar tooth, and so on. All right, ready for the 8-minute dance. This is Emma passing Luke the PI, procedure instrument. You can grab it any way you want. Luke must like baseball. He grabs it like a baseball bat. I like to hold it as if I'm grabbing a number 2 pencil. And this is a great visual of the vertical lift from the irrigant striking the impingement plate at the terminal end of the sound bar. That's what's happening in the tooth within a closed environment. This creates a cavitation cloud, followed by implosion of dozens of thousands of hypochlorite molecules. You are in a closed environment. So what happens is a vertical flow ensues, which is basically an acoustic field of broadband frequencies that travel within the fluid all the way down to the abyss to take care of the intricacies of the system. It is canal size agnostic. That vertical flow will effectively and efficiently clean and disinfect minutiae, really fine, complicated anatomies as nicely as maybe the more or larger anatomies coronally. You just saw hypochlorite returning debris to the waste canister. Following hypochlorite, we rinse the tooth with about 30 seconds of distilled water. EDTA will follow at a concentration of about 8%. We're going to see debris coming back through this clear line into the waste canister. That's all EDTA. And the cycle concludes with 15 seconds of distilled water. Platform lifts really easily with the same spoon excavator. Emma takes it away, and this tooth is now ready to pack. We absolutely love to see Walter Hess's anatomies chairside. Just love it. So this is in a nutshell, in about 4 minutes, the GentleWave procedure. Here is my contact info, ladies and gentlemen. You want to write this down. Our website right here. You can find all our email addresses. Mine's in there. We are huge on Instagram. I am the one that runs the platform. We post several cases a week. We've been doing so since, well, 2018. If you access @AdvancedEndo, you'll have the opportunity to see hundreds of cases that we have performed using the GentleWave procedure. We don't do much on Facebook. We used to, but maybe a bit past it, at least for us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, independent of the negative pressure that the vertical flow generates within the closed environment, once GentleWave is running, there is suction built into the system. We are going to see in this short video, just pay attention as to what's going to happen within the reservoir, which is filled with India ink once GentleWave starts running. So let's watch this video. There we go. This explains why some patients with significant swelling have visibly reduced swelling after 8 minutes. Sometimes patients are no longer swollen and they come in looking like a chipmunk. So this is suction that it is built within the system itself. Again, independent of the mechanism of action from the fluid dynamics. Let's go back to this one page where Hess exhibited what he saw. He has these teeth categorized, what he saw within the main canals of the mesial canals of a lower molar. Let's focus on the four specimens, if you will, on the upper left. We have them here zoomed. For the first time and fairly routinely, we are seeing in the operatory what Hess saw in his laboratory bench, the areas of confluent isthmi, these loops, maybe middle mesials and anastomoses. This is what we're seeing now. Take a look at the one on the right side. Ladies and gentlemen, let me go back. This is a vital tooth. 2 instruments in the main canals, not exceeding a 1602. Take a look at the coronal section right here. GentleWave was able to clean, dissolve, just eliminate this massive amount of rubbery, horrible, collagenous tissue and made it available for obturation. The language is changing. The triad, some are now calling it a biad. We're now preparing, if we need to, we are preparing canals for fluid. Sometimes we don't need to prepare them because Mother Nature gives you the glide path. So we just acquire a working length and build the platform, and then we pack these cases in 3D. Well, this is in quotes. I think this quote came from Steve Buchanan. We are now not worried at all about cleaning and shaping anatomically complicated spaces. The challenge for us GentleWave providers has become sealing, obturating in 3D, this really anatomically fine spaces. Our packs or obturations are looking a little different, much more conservative, but much more anatomy being shown on our final radiographs. This is basically a comparison. The tooth on the right side, tooth number 18, was treated years ago. These are 3009 to length. This was done in 2022, 1602, and you can see how we have become so much more conservative. The new look of clean is what we like to talk about. I am going a little skinnier now. I went to a conference in Spain where I gave a lecture on GentleWave at the Spanish yearly meeting of their Association of Endodontics. I came across a file, a 1502, called the Slim Shaper file, which is made by Zark and marketed by Avalon Biomed in this country. Tooth number 30 was treated, 10 years ago. You can see the shapes, 2508 mesials, 3009 were used in the distals. And this is my Slim Shaper file, which is basically a 1502 at the apical third. That's all we needed to do for this case, 10 file 1502 platform. You can see how much more conservative we have become. This obviously is not a presentation where I am going to address obturation. That is a topic for a different day. Those of you who attended the AAE in Phoenix last year in April had the opportunity to listen to my professional partner, Scott Hetz. This was the topic of his presentation. It was extremely well received. Scott will be back in May this year in Chicago at AAE 23. speaking on the same topic by request. So you'll have the opportunity to learn how we are packing these really fine and very conservative spaces. What happened at the AAE in Phoenix in April of 2022? Well, CleanFlow was introduced. CleanFlow is different. What the engineers did, they were able to relocate the sound bar from the tooth into the head of the procedure instrument. This is the handpiece sitting on the platform. You can see the sound bar within the head of the handpiece. This is what CleanFlow would look like from underneath. This is the flow view window that you can see above the PI, and that's the that's a fluid jet. You can actually see the jet striking the impingement plate. It's about 100 pounds per square inch hitting the plate to generate that cavitation cloud. So now the cavitation cloud originates within the head of the handpiece. Here you have it. And then the vertical flow that follows, which is basically an acoustic field of broadband frequencies that travel within the fluid, also gets generated within the head of the handpiece and then emanate and get sent into the abyss to take care of, well, those anatomically complicated spaces. If you've heard the expression cleaning the inside from the outside, that's exactly what CleanFlow is all about. Yes, we do need to build a platform to go from the image on the left to the image on the right. It takes about a minute or two to build this platform. We use a material called Sound Seal, which is fairly similar to cool down. Mastering it's critical. It doesn't take that long to master Sound Seal. Platforms are now, really easily done, even in broken down teeth. I made this video myself using my iPhone. Actually, it was my assistant, Cecilia, who taped me with my iPhone. We're going to show you how we typically build a platform using Sound Seal and using a true tooth. Let's see if we can get the music going here. So this is Sound Seal being placed at the gingival margin. You don't have to do this step. I like to do this when there is a cervical or a restoration close to the free gingival margin. This is obviously cured. Next step is a must. Again, you don't have to do this, but now we're placing Sound Seal at the occlusal table. Next step is to load that matrix with Sound Seal, of course. See, there's a little pivot in the very center that will be positioned into the opening on the tooth. The matrix is placed over the occlusal table. Now this is cured to provide a closed system. I like to do 4 seconds, 12 o'clock, 4 seconds, 6 o'clock, and then again 4 o'clock, 4 seconds, 3 and 9 o'clock. Matrix lifts. What we need to do now is we need to open up. We can cure this. We don't have to, but we can give it a couple more doubts, maybe 4, 8 more seconds. Now we need to open up the tiny little orifice to mimic the cavo surface margin of the original access cavity. This is done on the bench, obviously. So we're going to rinse this with our water syringe. And all we do now is just place the handpiece over the platform and run the cycle. Again, this is my contact info. You can write me an email, which you'll find in my website, or you can DM me on our Insta platform at Advanced Endo. All right, now, oh, there we go. So let me show you, yeah, right here. So let me show you a few cases. This is a 28 millimeter number 18 that I would have never, ever done in one visit prior to GentleWave. And it was done in one visit. We've got the canal right here, threatening. This patient comes in discomfort, biting pressure, and also complaining of, well, doctor, my jaw itches constantly. We may say that was a bit of dysesthesia. That's your sagittal scan right there. Maybe because the area that's becoming inflamed periapically is encroaching upon the mandibular canal. 10 file, glide path, platform. 10 file, glide path, platform. 10 file, glide path, platform. This is what I do 99% of the cases that I treat. 10 file, glide path, platform. We're now ready for the 8-minute dance. This is not my mother, obviously, when she was younger, but this is my mother. She was a flamenco dancer and traveled the streets in Europe, mostly northern Spain, and sometimes she would go to southern France, and that's how she would make a living. Every time I run GentleWave, which is the 8-minute dance, I remember, you know, my mother, who is still above ground. In fact, we're going to visit her in just a few days. She still plays the castanets that she played at the age of 16, as you see in this picture. So we basically run GentleWave. This is the original molar PI instrument. We run 8 minutes. This is the pack. Well, we've got maybe an anastomosing branch right here, maybe bifidity, a focal canal at the top. Well, that's what shows up. 10 months down the line, this patient comes in fully asymptomatic. And these are your just cone beam imagery right here. I don't like to use the word non-instrumentation endodontics. That's why I place it in quotes. Some practitioners use this terminology. I like to rather say, you know, non-shaping endodontics, but this is a C-shaped tooth. We used the broadest aspect of the C to acquire a working length. That's where my 10 file enter this tooth. Once we acquired a working length, the 10 file was extremely loose at length, loosey-goosey. So we already had the glide path with a very loose 10 at working length, a millimeter shy of the radiographic terminus. There's your access. We run GentleWave. Again, this is what happens in a closed environment. Ladies and gentlemen, this is indirect fluid delivery. We are not shooting anything inside the tooth. In fact, the fluid delivery is away from the radiographic terminus, from the apex of the tooth, if you will. Yeah, basically what's happening here is we're delivering about 400 cc's of optimized, meaning degassed, constantly refreshed, that's known as, in quotes, advanced chemistry, into those complex anatomies during 8 nonstop minutes. It doesn't have to be nonstop. You can stop anytime you want, but we would typically run this cycle from start to finish. That's post GentleWave. This is the pack. All we did here is, oh, by the way, let me go back. All we did here is use a 10 file, and that mesiobuccal aspect of that C-shaped configuration. That's it. It was loose at length. We barely didn't touch anything inside this tooth. Yep, we did not harm anything in there. Here is how we packed the tooth. We introduced a fine point which reached pretty much where we wanted it to go, and the rest is a bit of sealer hydraulics to take care of this tooth, to take care of the occlusion in 3 dimensions. That's post, and then this is your recall radiograph. It is a sealer-based obturation. These are your cross sections. We only have gutta percha at the mesiobuccal aspect of the C, and the rest is sealer. We like the one by Brasseler. Those are the components of Brasseler's high flow bioceramic. This patient came back for recall, asymptomatic and fully functional. Here is another, in quotes, NIE case. This patient came in concerned because, as he said to me, "Doctor, I feel like I have a brick that's growing within my jaw." He comes in with rather indurated swelling. He's not that swollen, it's just indurated. And he says it is as hard, feels to be as hard as a brick. He thought it was his sinuses. Eventually decided to get it checked out, and he was referred to me to open the tooth up, let it drain, and so on. Here is your cone beam imagery. Here is the typical palatal event proper of an upper second premolar. We are going to curve our files because nature has done nothing that is a straight line, right? You cannot tell me anything that nature's made that straight, so we're going to pre-curve our files. And yeah, this is a case that it is done in 1 visit. No question, this is done in 1 visit. There's a reason why there is a waste canister at the back of the console. It collects the waste. So we remove the rubber dam, sit the patient up, and the patient says to me, "Hey, doc, oh my goodness, I feel like everything is back to normal. All that hardness is just not there. Wow, this feels so good." Well, Mr. O'Brien, let me show you where the brick that was inside your jaw is. It's right there. That's where the brick is. We sometimes take images of these canisters and show them to patients to let them know what exactly we did and why we're using the technology that we are using on them. Yeah. Came back a year later, asymptomatic. This tooth is doing really well. I'm going to show you another case here where this patient came in. He was worried because he had quite some problems. He had issues swallowing. He had pretty significant dysphagia. And he is referred for me to open up his tooth, drain it. This is the lower cuspid, tooth number 27. I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, this is the typical lower cuspid, a sudden change in canal radiolucency, 1 canal splitting into 2. That's your cone beam on the second image. And when we took a sagittal slice, I'm a bit kind of like taken back as to, how this chamber is looking. I wasn't expecting it to see it that way. I was expecting the chamber to be more centered within the long axis of that root. There's history of orthodontics. At that 1 level, these canals, or the canal, it is just calcified city. opened this tooth up, could not find the canal, didn't get a drop of drainage. He is, again, fairly swollen and his neck is fairly puffed up. Run GentleWave 2 minutes, could not find the canal through the platform, run another 2 minutes, couldn't find it either. I run the entire cycle. After running the cycle, I could not find the canal either. Not a single drop of exudate that was expressed from this tooth. This is how we proceeded. I was thinking, I'm definitely sending this patient to the hospital while he's here. Let me at least just get this root canal finished, or at least get the access sealed. That way he doesn't have to come back. I'm thinking hospital. That's the access. That's the sealer inside that deep chamber, a bit of gutta percha. And here's my number 4 or maybe 3 shoulder plugger stepping on it. Just one time, let me go back. You step on it just one time. This creates tremendous hydraulics, about 2,000 pounds per square inch. We take a final radiograph, and that's what we see on our screen. Take a look at the mid-root loop, courtesy of GentleWave. I remove the rubber dam, and the patient says to me, "Doctor, oh my goodness, thank you for taking care of me. I can swallow basically normally. This is just a miracle. Thank you Thank you so much. I'm very grateful." So instead of sending this patient to the hospital, he went back to his office. He told me he had a busy day, went back to his office, and business as usual. Well, let me show you Mr. Garcia, where that the source of you being not able to swallow properly. We have it inside this canister, sir. That's what came from outside of your jaw and what we extracted from within your neck, if you will. Yeah, we call these floats. Just a few samples. Here's three others. I could show you many dozens. I'll just show you just a half a dozen today. I like to open the waste, the back of the console, and take pictures of the waste container every now and then. 6 months, I believe, down the line, this tooth is doing just well. Patient is fully functional and has absolutely no discomfort, and he can swallow just normally as he always did. That's where I was probably digging and trying to search for that canal. I should have maybe poked or troughed or dug or looked for it there. Be that as it may, could not find the canal. GentleWave found it for me, cleaned it, disinfected it, and with a bit of hydraulics, took care of the seal, and the patient is happy. Well, degassing is huge. The console degasses our reagents. Degassing removes the fluid's dissolved air content. Ladies and gentlemen, vapor lock is real. Obstructive vapor lock is a concern. I learned soon after embracing GentleWave that degassing our irrigants doubles the efficacy of the physics. This is what we're now seeing thanks to our irrigants being degassed. We're able to capture. By the way, we are preventing vapor lock. That's the main reason why the console degasses, the physics degasses, or the technology degasses the fluids. It prevents that dreaded vapor lock that prevents our irrigants from reaching all the way to the terminal extents. Not sure how many we've got here, quite a few here. And I think I can count about 8 portals of exit. Ladies and gentlemen, GentleWave excels within fine spaces. It is anatomically blind in that it will dissolve, clean, and disinfect whatever tight spaces present themselves. These are not anecdotal events, if not every day, almost every day. One of us in our practice, one of us 6, will discover anatomy we would rarely seen prior to GentleWave. The technology, beautifully exemplifies Pauli's exclusion principle, which is derived from Newton's second law of physics that states 2 objects cannot occupy the same space at the same time. We've been listening to the saying, the thrill of the fill. Now we GentleWave providers are more thrilled about the clean. This technology accomplishes the net effect of extraction, which is removing 100% of the root canal system, but without removing the tooth. You know what's not within these systems? Resilient, horrible, spongy, irreversibly inflamed collagen. We're no longer flirting with parts of the root canal system. We are taking it all out. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, I am not showing off skill or ability. I am not more skillful than anybody out there. I promise you that, because I'm not showing off skill, but I am certainly showing off technology. This is from Schilder's article published in Dental Clinics of North America over 50 years ago, the most downloaded article in the history of endodontics. Let me show you 4 brief, what I label as clinical opportunities using this technology. This is tooth number 3. We got a tooth that's necrotic with symptoms. This is your axial sagittal, your sagittal view of this one tooth. At that one level, well, I know there's an MB2 because nature loves symmetry, and look how off axis of that MB2 is positioned between the really broad mesiobuccal root, buccal to palatal. I know it's there, but I cannot find it. When I know that the mesiobuccals merge and I cannot find the MB2, I will trough. I will begin to look for it, but if I don't find it right away, I'm stopping and I let GentleWave finish for me, as long, again, as I know that they do merge. And this is the pack. The MB2 is all sealer. The MB2 is right there. It was actually cleaned out from coronal, from apex to coronal, thanks to the vertical flow and GentleWave physics. That's the inverted contrast. Oh, we love to see Mother Nature's shapes. Just love it. He came back, again, healed and completely asymptomatic. Well, this is a boo-boo of mine. Let's take a look at the event happening at the apex within that distal root. Oh yeah, I ledged it. Let me magnify it right here. I ledged it. Maybe I went too fast. I just was not careful enough, I guess. I ledged and then I transposed the canal. Fortunately, I had GentleWave with me. I run the 8 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at a vital tooth. So GentleWave was able to clean, dissolve the tissue within these maybe 4, 5, 6 millimeters right here, vacated that space, which then was able to be compacted with a bit of sealer hydraulics. And that's the patient 2.5 years down the line. Referral dentist sent me a case. He said he had separated 7 instruments apically, trying to gain length. He was not kidding. There you have them. This is a C-shaped molar. You can see them right there. I have a zoomed view. The scan doesn't show it as nicely as the two-dimensional image does. In a case like this, well, I opened up the axis, I completed it. And prior to inserting any instrument inside this tooth, I run GentleWave. Rookie mistake. This is one of my first cases that I did way back in 2018. I should have taken a radiograph after running GentleWave, and I guess I didn't because my working length files will drop to working length and millimeter shy in every aspect of the C. That is the pack. GentleWave was able to remove not one, but 7 separated 6, 8, and 10 files within the apical 1/3 of this C-shaped molar. That's 3+ years down the line. Patient's doing well. This gentleman was hit with a golf club. His teeth became instantly discolored, referred. We run GentleWave, nothing sexy here. We don't always get all these fireworks. Sometimes we just don't. Nothing sexy again, just 2 canals that were basically not shaped. We acquired a working length. The shape is there. The glide path is there. Young patient, he was a caddy. He got hit with a golf club by the professional golfer. And after running 8 minutes, he was quite happy that his teeth returned. His teeth returned to the original color. The GentleWave system has eliminated the need for internal bleaching in many trauma cases that involve anterior teeth. Practice benefits, there are multiple. I'd like to just spend maybe a minute or 2 on the one visit or single endodontic issue. I was, prior to GentleWave, a 70%, give or take, clinician doing 1 visits. I am now about 100%. So these clinical case scenarios, just to name a few, a necrotic tooth with symptoms, an abscess tooth, a retreatment that's symptomatic, a C-shape with symptoms, all these case scenarios and multiple others. Well, those are the statistics of my 1 visit treatments prior to GentleWave. For example, an acutely abscess tooth, I would do only maybe 1 out of 3 teeth, but I would do in 1 visit. A retreatment with symptoms, maybe 1 out of 4, I would perform in 1 visit. It's now 100%. I don't even think twice about this, about doing all these treatments in 1 visit. It's 1 visit each time, every time, all the time, because I am able to give my word to every canal. And I'm no longer denying scheduling myself a new patient. Let's summarize. Yeah, we are experiencing this paradigm shift. It's happening. We're seeing Walter Hess's laboratory work chairside. Well, minimal canal preparation, meaning it's much more or much less labor intensive. We are not, placing files, larger shaping files through long and skinny canals down areas of curvature and recurvature. So we are discouraging iatrogenic events. This procedure removes anxiety and stress. Oh, we are preserving like never before that precious pericervical denting. Just superb tissue dissolution and surface disinfection. Instead of removing the infected dentin, we are removing the infection from the dentin. It's like we don't want anything touching anything in there. It's efficient. The greater the number of canals the tooth has, the less time it takes for you to perform the endodontics, because every tooth, 3, 4, 5, 6 canals, whatever they may be, the number, they're all cleaned and disinfected simultaneously. It's profitable. And let's talk about this just for maybe a minute or so. This is the way we did it in our practice. We financed our 4 consoles in the same fashion that we financed our microscopes and our cone beam machines. All we did at the time is we increased our molar fee about 4. And within 2 years, we were able to pay all 4 consoles. It didn't cost us a penny, these 4 consoles. I am saving every single year 85% of file costs. 85%, 10 file glider. That's it. Our patients are referring themselves. They are talking to their friends. They know about GentleWave. They talk to other patients. They call us and they refer themselves, or they are being referred to others, but they call us instead. We have patients referring family members, friends, or loved ones. Let me go back. We have gotten in the last 5 years more referrals from millennials, Generation Y. 75 million millennials in this country in the last 5 years, more referrals from millennials than in my previous 26 years of practice combined. Millennials are fascinated by this tooth console connection. They're fascinated and they refer others. We're seeing the same thing happening now with the older patients from Generation Z. And yeah, this is where the math, if you will, becomes fairly significant. I have increased in the last 5 years, 30% increase in billable visits. Just do the math, and this is fairly significant mathematics here. Yeah, it is profitable. Maybe I should say it is darn profitable, but I will leave it at that. Let's continue. Bold and in yellow, almost non-existent or rock bottom post-op issues of any kind, flare-ups, persistent swelling, discomfort that may not quit or it's getting worse. Patients rarely ever come back saying, "Doc, I'm feeling better, but why is it a month later or 6 weeks later? Why is it my tooth still hurts when I tap on it?" All that, as my professional partner would say, all that white noise, it's just gone. Our receptionist asked us a few years ago, how come patients no longer call saying they have issues post root canal treatment? It's been a rock bottom. Regarding those types of events. What happens after GentleWave endodontics? Well, nothing really happens because patients don't call back. They are rendered pain-free and they are happy. Perceived faster healing. This is significant, 93 to 99. And oh my goodness, during COVID, this was a godsend. We were open during COVID. We treated patients that were in severe pain and or swollen. We would triage them and only those cases would be treated. Between March of 2020 and maybe late into 2021, we saw patients in dire straits, and that's where I learned to push this technology, to realize, among other things, that I could do one visit in endodontics on purulent teeth. Patients would come in demanding during the worst of COVID that we do it in one visit, scared to death that they would die. They came in because they couldn't take it any longer, but scared to death that we were going to contract COVID in the dental office and die. So we're happy. Importantly, our patients are extremely happy, but it's way more than all this, ladies and gentlemen. It's way more than this. Let's talk, and we're going to close in the next 5 minutes with discussing the ROL. This is a quote by Dr. Cobain, the president at High Point University, where my son happened to attend. Well, you can read the slide. The ROL, what is the ROL? That's the return on life. Yep, ROI we get from investing money. ROL is what we get from investing ourselves. ROI measures profit. ROL is a way to measure significance, impact, and fulfillment. We are more enthused, and I'm speaking on behalf of my professional partners and probably over 900 GentleWave providers in North America, more enthused with more energy than ever before. My goodness, energized like I've never been. Well, I was thinking not retirement, but cutting back prior to embracing GentleWave 5 years ago. I'm not cutting back. I'm full-time still. I have quite a few years in my tank. It's become a lot of fun. So my retirement's delayed. On my way home, oh my goodness, I'm calm. How many times have I driven home and told my wife as I entered the door, Kim, I hope I got it all out, whatever, tough tooth, lower molar, or that lower bicuspid with that really complicated anatomy where you hope abscess tooth that you cleaned it all out because you know the anatomy is complicated in there. Tooth happens to be an abutment for a 3-unit bridge. And how many times have I told my wife, oh my goodness, Kim, I hope it's all out. I no longer say that to my wife. In fact, my wife said to me once years ago, pre-GentleWave, Michael, I have an idea. Why don't you just, when you're done for the day, why don't you just stay in the office and sleep there? Don't bring office issues to the house. Well, I no longer bugger with I hope I got it all out. I'm feeling good when I'm driving home because I know it's clean. It's all out. Emphasis on the words elevates and immensely. On my way to work, I'm looking forward. Why? Because I know I'm driving home that day calm. It's fun to be at the office, or more fun than ever before. It's a state of mind. Maybe because it delivers the, in quotes, most optimal cleaning that endo has to offer. In my humble mind, it is the most optimal and by far cleaning that we have available today. It's peace of mind. And for all these reasons, we find this technology to be priceless. This peace of mind that this technology provides, I understood maybe a year or two after embracing GentleWave, that's what those who had embraced the technology a year or two prior to us meant when they said, Michael, it is more than a disinfection device. It was all about that peace of mind that this technology gives you, and you just can't pay enough for it. I'd like to close by a quote by Dr. Cobain. Yeah, we can be very creative, when we are using GentleWave. It is an innovative technology, and innovation is about doing things better. This concludes my presentation. Molly, I will be happy to answer any questions. I understand there may be a few already in the pipeline, so I'm all yours. Thank you again. Thank you again for the opportunity. And I want to wish everybody who will listen to this presentation great future success.
Yes, thank you again, Dr. Rivera, for that really comprehensive presentation. There are some questions, you were right, coming in, but before I get to those, I would
Okay.
like again to invite viewers to use the chat feature in the control panel on the bottom of your screen to ask any questions that you have. We have one question. How do the staff convey to the patient why you use this technology and what it does?
I love that question. Patients, some patients don't know about the technology. Others do know a little bit. Some are patients that are coming back, but for a new patient, they see this console and they ask, what's this machine doing next to me, or this tower? And so there's a staff tells them, well, we have a new technology that's available. The doctor will be connecting your tooth to this machine. They will open sometimes the hood of the machine and show patients where all the disinfectants are in there. And they will tell them that instead of doing the traditional way where we would use manual syringes, there would be a connection between the tooth and the console where the machine would, they like to use the word power wash the tooth. You know, Mrs. Jones, the doctor will, with my assistants, will power wash your tooth for 8 minutes. And that's how we will hopefully eliminate this toothache, the reason why you're here today. Was there a second part to the question, Mally?
No, I think you answered that very well. Second question is, can you provide this treatment to all patients in one session?
Well, the answer is yes, with a 99.5% of the time. There may be, I think there may be like 2 or 3 cases in the last 5 years where I did not run GentleWave. Now we're entering cases where there's resorption and it's supracrestal, and you can't run GentleWave when there is a communication externally above the bone. So unless the resorption is sealed first externally prior to running GentleWave, but on the routine, your bread and butter, your cases where patients come and they really need root canal treatment done, it is 100% done, and it's done in one visit. I've been practicing 31 years. I've never had a patient tell me, doctor, could you please perform my root canal in 7 different appointments? It never happens that way. In fact, some patients, when you used to tell them, oh yeah, I'm going to have you come back. Oh, what do you mean come back? I told a patient told me once, well, my surgeon removed my appendix in one visit. The surgeons don't ask patients to come back to have their gallbladder removed in 3 steps. So yeah, it is, thanks to the physics and thanks to the fact that we can evacuate, clean, and disinfect even teeth that are purely expressing pus, draining. These are done in one visit about 100% of the times. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, another question. How does GentleWave affect your appointment schedule? Do root canals take longer because of it?
Well, we believe in consultation endodontics, unless patients are in severe discomfort, somebody walking through the door, we would perform a consultation. Patients come back. We know what we're dealing with. As I believe I mentioned in the presentation, well, most of the teeth that we treat are molar teeth, at least 3, 4, sometimes 5 canals, maybe even more than that at times. Because all canals are simultaneously cleaned, debrided, and disinfected, it's taking less time to do the endodontics. So we know the tooth number, we know how many canals the tooth could have, so we schedule them accordingly. Our appointment times have now become shorter because we know we can actually perform a molar treatment in less time than what we would needed prior to GentleWave. So yeah, it is very streamlined, and with this technology, it's like patients sometimes say, "Whoa, that was fairly efficient, doctor." Well, yes, thanks to the technology, we can do this. Patients don't like to spend time at the office. They want to go home. They want to go to work. So, and because we are doing things in less time, we are not packing our schedules as heavy as we would otherwise. And then we can accommodate a walk-in emergency, even do one visit in a walk-in emergency in between two patients.
Okay, has your antibiotic pain medication protocols changed? Do you provide as many opioids or painkillers?
Whoa, that's a good one. That's a good question. And I've been asked that quite a few times. I don't remember the last time I prescribed a narcotic, meaning Tylenol with codeine, Vicodin, Vicoprofen, Percocet, Percodan. I don't remember. So we no longer, at least I don't. I think my professional partners rarely, if ever, use class 2 substances for discomfort. If anything, we prescribe ibuprofen, which we know that in combination with Tylenol do the job, and sometimes, oftentimes, even better than codeine. So narcotics, again, ask me when was the last time. I have no clue. As far as antibiotics, I am prescribing or have prescribed minimal antibiotics for my patients ever since embracing GentleWave in 2018. We are removing the source of the infection in visit 1, or in one visit pretty much. It is being sent to the waste canister. So the source is out. Even teeth that come to us, patients, that patient that I showed you that had swelling in his neck, who had dysphagia, pretty significant, had problems swallowing. He did not get an antibiotic. The source was already in the canister. I told him, if anything, if the tooth still bothers you, you need to take something for it, maybe 400 milligrams of Ibu will do the job. So yeah, minimal prescriptions regarding antibiotics since GentleWave, for sure.
Okay, in kind of a related question, but it's the last question we have time for. How does GentleWave affect follow-up visits? Do patients report less pain after they leave your office? How does it compare to pre-GentleWave?
We have patients back 3 months, 6 months, a year after for follow-ups. We do this routinely so we can make sure our cases are healing or have healed or are in progress. We do call patients at nighttime, if not the next day. We're giving a call list by our staff. You can access the call list, on our app from the office. But we do call them up most of the times at nighttime. And we've noticed, again, since we embraced this technology, that patients become symptom-free quite rapidly. It's been across the board. My professional partners have seen the same. And if you were to talk to all the GentleWave providers, again, we are removing the source. And when you remove the source, healing takes place instantly, much more efficiently, maybe even more rapidly. So these patients are basically not having much discomfort, and they're getting rid of it much quickly. So we're happy, and importantly, they're happy because they come in pain, and we are usually getting it out of their heads within 24 hours, or almost always pain-free. We love it. We love the technology.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all your questions. But that was the last question. We have run out of time for today. But if we did not get to your question today, we will answer it after the webinar via email. Thank you all for attending, and a special thank you to Dr. Michael J. Rivera and our sponsor for this webinar, the GentleWave System. Thank you, and stay safe out there.
Thank you, Mally. Have a great day.